Alright, everybody, welcome back. So, today we're going to talk about the Ottawa Senators. We made a video on Detroit prior to the DeBrincat trade, and I thought we'd make a video on the Senators after the DeBrincat trade, even though I made a video specifically on DeBrincat. But nonetheless, that trade leaves some questions. Are the Senators better or worse following that trade occurring? And I think there's multiple ways of looking at it. And there actually is some questions of this team potentially being a playoff team this coming season. And what happens if they're not? What happens if they are? All kind of depends on that. So we'll start off with what the moves they made this offseason. Forward core, there was not that many changes besides some additions to the top six. Outside of the DeBrincat trade. They acquired Matthew Highmore to a 1-year, $775K contract, and they also signed Zach McEwen to a 1-year, $775K 775K contract. I don't mind it. Highmore probably fits in as a depth player. McEwen probably a fourth liner. He can fight. I think he's perfect for Ottawa. Gets in that fourth line role, adds some grit and some fighting, and I love McEwen. He's one of my favorite players. I actually wish the Flyers brought him back along with Brendan Lemieux, and we had the line of Delorier, Lemieux, and McEwen. That would have been awesome. But regardless, he does bring some solid physicality to Ottawa's bottom six, which now that I look at it, like that might be the biggest problem at Ottawa now. Arguably, if Korpisalo works out, which we'll get into Korpisalo in a second, but if he works out, I think the only problem really is your bottom six at that point, and you need to look at players to add that can provide secondary scoring and grit to be a cup contending playoff type team. Who they got back in return in the DeBrincat trade that was a forward was actually Dominik Kubalik. So Kubalik I think is interesting. He could fit well, probably in that second line or maybe in that third line, but probably going to take DeBrincat's spot on that second line. It seems fitting, and it seems like he's a good spot to be at, and I think it would definitely work out for Kubalik to be on that second line for sure, and that pans out a top six if fully healthy of Giroux, Stützle, Tkachuk, and then Kubalik, Norris, and Batherson. I almost forgot about Batherson. That's not that bad of a top six. That's actually pretty good. That's one of the better ones in the league. Definitely top 10 for sure. And I think that, it's got to be in the next couple of years though, because Drew's starting to get up there in age, and then you gotta consider that because he's like 35 years old. Like he's gonna be like 36 at the end of the next season. So you gotta wonder about that. And if they're gonna make the playoffs, it kind of has to be this year, or else you're gonna see drastic changes. I was looking at DJ Smith, and I made numerous videos on this channel talking about DJ Smith and how they should fire him. And I'm gonna say this right now: if they have a bad November, like even if they start off like 0-5 in November, I think he's gone. Honestly, I can't if they're if they're anywhere near they were the previous couple of years, like if they're like 5-9 or 5-10 or something like that, or like 4-11, something like that, he's gone. No doubt he's gone. Because every year it's just been a slow start, and I think this year has to be the year where DJ Smith proves himself, or else he's done for. And if they keep him after that, I'll be shocked, honestly. But yeah, DJ Smith, it's a make or break year for him. On the blue line, who they signed? It was mostly re-signings. They signed Erik Brannstrom, not Korpisalo's goalie. They signed Brannstrom to a 1-year, $2 million deal. They also signed Travis Hamonic to a 2-year, $1.1 deal. And they also acquired prospect Donovan Sebrango from the Red Wings. Sebrango, not bad. Probably a B, C level prospect, not terrible. But yeah, you re-sign your guys in Brannstrom and Hamonic. You needed to do that, so nothing wrong with that. And then they signed the big one. They signed Joonas Korpisalo to a 5-year, $4 million contract, and it's exactly what they needed to do. That is exactly what they needed to get done, and they did it. It's no debate. Everyone knows this. Their biggest problem the past couple of years has been the goaltending, and they solved that with bringing in Korpisalo. Hopefully, he'll be the good starter. The term might be a little bit too long, but I don't hate it overall. I think it could be good for him. And now I have a lot of higher hopes on this team than I think. And as well as that, too, there's other things that people aren't factoring in either. They could make another trade. Matthew Joseph or Parker Kelly could be on the move. Those are two players that I was looking at, like if they want to move players to get other bottom six players in or make room for a guy like Ridley Gregg when he comes up into the lineup, then yeah, you can absolutely do that. And they have options there. But as well as that, too, what people aren't mentioning now that the DeBrincat trade has passed, they have 2 firsts. regardless of whether, it turns into Boston's first or it turns into a 2025 first. They're going to have two firsts either this year or next year, regardless. So that gives you options. If you want to come trade deadline, you see a guy out there you like, you can make a move for them, and that's another option that Ottawa has now with getting that first round pick. Now they have two firsts. Most likely, and they can make moves at the deadline to improve even more. So that's kind of how I look at it as well. And then the other big piece that I think about is Josh Norris too. Hopefully, like last year, he had a freak injury and he was out for pretty much the whole year. Hopefully he can come back, play well, and fit in well in that second line role. And I think you're golden. As well as that too, you'll have Pinto on the third line, and they're really deep down the middle. So really, they have plenty of options there, and I think they're in a good spot now. I think they're in a much better spot than they have been in previous years, and it's amazing since I started this YouTube channel in 2020. Like just to see their development and see how far they've grown since then, and I really hope they do make it in 23-24. Because this is a team that I've seen their entire core develop and grow, and it's honestly been kind of amazing, really, when they like them signing Drew, them getting DeBrincat, them getting all these guys, and then it's amazing seeing a team being built like this, and that's why I'm excited to see my Flyers be built like that, and I've seen my Coyotes be built like that as well. So yeah, I mean honestly, that's all I got on Ottawa. I'm excited for this season. There is a lot of questions though, like they're gonna be battling with a lot of teams, like Buffalo and Detroit are gonna want to get back into a playoff spot. So they're going to be fighting with them. And then, of course, you got Tampa, Toronto, Boston, Florida. And then you also got Montreal, who could be in the mix as well. I'd say, and I even said this last year, just about every team in the Atlantic, but just about every team, and not just the Atlantic, but the Eastern Conference, besides probably Philadelphia and maybe Columbus, are all going to be competitive next year. And even like Philly and Columbus, like Philadelphia is well coached with Tortorella. We're still young. We're gonna be fighting. We're gonna be competitive. We're gonna steal games from some teams. And then Columbus too. I mean, hey, they got some solid players, and if they can be healthy again, and Fantilli comes in, plays well, hey, they could be competing as well. So really, it's gonna be a bloodbath in the East like it has been in previous years. So if Ottawa can make it in, it has to be this year. It just has to be. And I think with teams like Florida and Boston getting worse, I think the odds may be in their favor. So anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe on it down below. I greatly appreciate it. I do have an update on the season previews. They will start August 15th, I believe, so a little less than a month away. The Senators are like in the middle of those, so, it'll be a ways away from that. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.